Hey guys, it's Candice, Trinice, and Fee, and this is BGB.
And we are talking about Grownish Season 2 today on the podcast. So we talked about Grownish Season 1. Make sure you guys go back and listen to that. Just so you can understand how we feel about that in relation to A Different World and the whole Blackish Cosby Show thing. We talked about all of that, so listen to that. Now we're in Season 2. It's sophomore year for Zoey Johnson, and it's a lot of different things happening. So I guess I'll start with asking you guys, how do you feel about the Season 2 opening? Like the first episode, like the first one, when it came back.
First episodes.
Like episodes, plural.
Yes.
I'm saying like when it first came back, how did you? It was 2. Okay, it was an hour-long premiere. That's why she's saying that. So it was technically 2 episodes. But I'm saying as far as like, when the show goes off that last season, you're excited about Season 2, what you're looking forward to.
I don't even remember last season.
I was going to say, I'm up here trying to remember the very first episode, exactly what was happening.
What? You don't remember the first episode?
That's when they got back to campus and they had to...
Oh, the long-distance relationship.
Yes.
And they had to
live in a dirty
have
dorm.
that party.
Make up the apartment party.
Paint party. I believe in paint parties.
It was more than that. It was a paint and clean up because somebody drank.
And
something
where
from
did they get all that furniture from? Like this is TV.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's not something I could have thought was real.
I felt like they should have came into the TV like, this is TV. Remember that episode of Martin when she had the baby? And he was like, what about the umbilical cord? He was like, this is TV, man. I felt like they should have did one of those because it was pretty. And the apartment is really nice now.
Clean up parties could be the wave. We should make it happen.
I love
clean
cleanup
up parties.
Great. But they act like they didn't have no money to fix it up, and then that apartment looks so good. So it's just not real.
Like I felt like the cleanup should have been. I could understand the cleanup being like the place actually being cleaned up and maybe painted.
Right.
But all the furniture, like she came back home and it was done. And I was just like,
right, and why wasn't she a part of it?
Yeah, I was like, where does that happen at? Okay.
Well, they did say it was her fault and she had to figure it out.
Exactly, but that's my point.
And
how did she figure it out?
She came up with the party, right?
But why wasn't she there to help?
Yeah, she wasn't a part of it. She was like, I came up with the plan. I did my part.
Smart enough.
She was managing.
Sometimes the brain doesn't have to be the hands, guys. They say work smarter, not harder. So
this is very true. That's what I'm trying to do this year. Mental note.
But yeah, when they did that whole cleanup party, I was like, I'm here for it. I'm excited about it. And I feel like this was her first time having to actually fix something. Like, I didn't see her call her parents and ask them for money. I didn't see, and before she was trying that freshman year to like not do that, but it was harder. But sophomore year, she already was presented with a problem, was told that she had to fix it, and she went about fixing it. So I think her reaction time and her decision time has come to a good place as far as her maturing. That's what I think.
So sophomore year, so what is it? What is like what's before sophomore year? Freshman. Thank you. It was like right there. Sorry, guys. It was like right there, and I just couldn't get it out. Okay, so like freshman year, you get to do absolutely nothing. Like you really get no privileges. You can't have your car and all that other stuff.
That's not always true.
I'm asking. Oh well, this is a question.
Oh, it was phrased.
Can I get it out?
It depends on what school you go to.
Let her get it out, then we'll talk about what she's asking.
So then. It's freshmen. I feel like they don't get the opportunity to do anything. So, do you get more special privileges during your sophomore year? Is that why they were able to just bust out and just get an apartment?
Yeah, like Candace said, it depends on the school you go to. But normally they have freshmen can't have their car. At some schools, my school, you can have your car all 4 years. But sometimes they say freshmen can't have their cars and have to live on campus. It's different.
You better have a car, honey.
They have to live on campus because they want to.
Great escape.
They want to make them be a part of the culture of the school. So, like, if you have a freshman and they're first coming from home and they have a car, every chance they get to go home, they're gonna go home. And it's the same thing I tell my sister now. Like, I don't think freshmen need a car. It's like you have to learn to survive where you are. And if every chance you get, every weekend you can go home, they will do that because they have the ability. But if they make it harder, like, you got to pay more to go home.
Yeah, like we know somebody that come home all the time.
I was going to say, are you talking about?
Look, we're not going to say.
I'm not going to say the name.
Yes, but you know what we're talking about. And then also with them living on campus, you have to learn, where everything is situated because you're there all the time. You have to learn how to exist in this space. And then as you get to a place where you show them in this year that you've mastered that, then you can go to living off campus. Because if you can handle on campus, learning that to navigate that, then you can handle off campus learning to navigate that.
So that was my other question. So technically this apartment is not on campus; it's off campus.
But so
this,
sometimes, like at Morgan, they have these apartments called Morgan View, and they're not like the dorms that are on campus, but they're literally. So you know how Morgan is on Cold Spring and Hillen. The Morgan View apartments are sitting between Cold Spring and Lock Raven and Cold Spring and Hillen. Like they take up all that space, so it's kind of like still on campus.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
And then like I know my freshman year, Morgan. I didn't have to write about this because I lived around the corner, so I didn't stay on campus. But a lot of the freshmen didn't even have dorms because they ran out of space. How you can even do something like that doesn't make any sense to me. But they didn't have space for them, so they had to. Some people who were from out of state had to go home, and other people just didn't stay on campus.
Like even at Morgan or whatever, like up and down, like a lot of those houses that are right there, people are renting.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. But it's another school. I want to say it was University of, it's either Baltimore or Maryland, but their incoming class is huge and they accepted a lot of students and they don't have enough housing. And I'm like, I don't understand how in sending out acceptance letters you don't realize you don't have enough housing to like just
accommodate
so
that.
Well, they probably feel like everybody's not going to need housing.
But still, you
or everyone is, even though they were accepted, doesn't necessarily mean
they're not
going to attend.
Them. Yeah, but still, just the number. Like there has to be some sort of system because I don't feel like this has happened.
But I don't think that they should have because if you think about the dorms, like they still have dorms where other people in college live there. Like I don't think any college expects for 100% of their students to live on campus because number one, some people don't want to have to go to a RA or they don't want to have to live by the rules of the campus security that we see on some of these episodes that have come out on Grownish.
That is true.
And then, it's just not a boarding school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. But
like, unless it's like abroad, I think maybe that might be different. But
I just mean this hasn't been, at least not as publicized because, we do say with social media, things are more public. It hasn't been as publicized, but I don't feel like this has been an issue that's been this regular until here lately. Like before, what was the system where you avoided this problem? And now why we have this problem? Well, is it
because a lot of more people weren't able to go to college?
I'm not
sure.
And
like now, I think that, with everything, of course, Trump is turning over and everything.
I feel like it has been an issue.
You feel like it's always been an issue?
I just gave an instance. I went to Morgan in 2007.
Okay.
Where a lot of people, like I said, they either had to go home or they had, and when I say home, I mean to a different state. Like, you don't have nowhere to live here, or you live in this state, you gonna have to go home if you want to come to this school.
Crazy.
Now, in that instance, I think it's especially crazy because you shouldn't tell me that I have somewhere to stay,
Exactly.
and then I come here and I don't have somewhere to stay.
Right.
Now, I don't agree with, we have to have enough dorms on campus or enough housing on campus for every student. Because some people just commute. That's just what it is, I feel like. But even my best friend went to UMES, and it was people that didn't necessarily have dorms there to live there. But they still stayed there and was hopping around.
I don't know. I'm not going to speak on it because I don't want anybody to think I'm bashing HBCUs because I respect them. I didn't attend one, but I do respect them. But I feel like...
The school you said was a HBCU?
Huh?
School you said was a HBCU?
The school what?
The school you said was a HBCU?
That you just brought up.
Which one? The one that I talked about. They was missing.
Because you said you didn't know if it was Baltimore or Maryland. They both HBCUs.
One of them, I don't know if Baltimore is. One of them is. But I'm saying you saying that about Morgan and UMES. Both of those are.
Oh yeah, but those are both facts as well.
Yeah,
so they need to pull it together.
I'm just saying
for our people
because she could say that she went to Morgan. I didn't go to Morgan. I went to a PWI, and I don't want it to be said that I'm trying to look down. That's not the case.
Right.
I just feel like and it upsets me because I appreciate HBCU education, but I think that we have to do better as a whole with...
Everybody knows that the organization at an HBCU is trash.
But
it's every semester. It's
still be.
It doesn't have to be. But I'm saying you shouldn't feel like you shouldn't say because you went to a private white institution. It doesn't matter. It's a fact. Is a fact.
Yes, but people take things differently depending on.
Well, what I'm telling you, don't let nobody say you can't tell the truth because it's the truth. So you gonna go ahead and say it.
Anyway, I just want them to get it together moving forward, so that won't be a reputation that follows them. Because it's important, I think, for people to be able to learn and grow in an environment that they're comfortable and that they can associate with. So
just do
that's all I'm
better
saying.
by the people for the people.
Do better. Okay,
for
so
our people.
Okay.
Fubu, do y'all have a favorite character?
So
Luca. Told you Luca is my favorite character. All the way, honey.
Zoey. I am either gonna go.
I could see you being Zoe.
I'm either gonna go the twins.
They are just hilarious. I could definitely see
Aaron.
Jazz. Is it Jazz or Skylar?
Yeah,
Which one
Jazz
get really
is
smart?
Jazz.
That's totally, I could see her being your favorite character.
She is one of my favorites. I think she's just no cut card. She's straight up like it is. And I mean, I think she was exceptionally petty in that one episode, but just be real about just be real about how you feel and then go forward. Like, there's no need to be mad at somebody and say you're not mad. Like, that's dumb.
Right.
But, okay. So, that happened with the whole college thing coming in, all of that. And then we had this episode where, in that episode, they was talking about a long-distance relationship because Luca went to Paris for the summer.
It's the premiere we're talking about, guys.
Yes, the premiere, the hour premiere. Luca went to Paris for the summer, and him and Zoey were talking, like, social media, Snapchat, whatever. And then she felt like when they got back to campus, they weren't as connected. And then he didn't even tell her when he got back to campus, and she was upset about that. Like, how do y'all feel about that situation?
I think he totally should have called her. Even if he was tired or whatever the case may have been, being as though they were a couple, he should have enough respect to say, hey, babe, I'm back. You know, whatever it went from there would have been fine. But for her to have to find out from someone else that...
She found out from Aaron. One of her former
love interests.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
and
that's always messy.
Yes, and even though he didn't show it, I'm quite sure he was gloating inside like, that relationship ain't as tight. I'm going to get back in. So, I thought that was totally disrespectful. Even if in his mind, because I know men, God, they just don't think sometimes. You know, even in his mind, he felt like we cool enough. Like, you knew I was coming home. You know, you knew I was coming home, so... Why should it matter? Anything? Why do I have to tell you? Type of thing.
That's how I feel.
But at the end of the day, you didn't know if I wanted to do anything for you. You know what I'm saying? So
she did. She had that
wine and cheese
and wine and everything.
Yeah. That illegal wine and cheese. Yes.
Yes, she did.
So I think he was totally wrong for that.
I agree. He was trash because he should have said something, and that's just it. Like. Like she said, it's okay. Be tired, but you didn't text, you didn't call, you didn't do anything. Like, no one said it had to be any, grand display of affection when you came home. I mean, even though obviously that's what me and Zoe would want. But if you're going to be tired, I get it. You just came home from Paris. You probably got jet lag. Like, it's probably a lot. Just probably trying to transition back into American culture. You're already weird. So it's just like, okay, I get it. But I think what made it worse is that when she went there, it was just like...
Like what? Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. It was not even... It was just unapologetic.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like he didn't know what he had to apologize for. And... He didn't.
But she told him.
She told him after he made the once he
acted like it just wasn't nothing.
Yeah, after that, that's when she told him. But like his initial reaction is like, "Oh hey, you came past my room. I'm here. Good to see you. It's not a big deal because I didn't know I did anything until she said you did this. Then he could be like, oh, I'm really sorry. So you can't really be unapologetic if you don't know that you did something wrong.
Like I just feel like at certain times. Certain things are like common sense, and I know everybody don't have it. I get that, but certain things. It's logical. That's logical.
But I don't think
I don't think that's common sense. I think that is. I think
it's common sense depending on who you're with.
Yes, absolutely.
And he knows her.
But this is the thing. She also knows him.
Boom.
And the reason why you said you like him so much is he's so carefree and he doesn't deal with the nonsense. This is an example of it. And a part of me would have probably lost out on a good relationship because I would have broke up with him right then and there. Like, nigga, you don't even know that I want to see you when you come home. Like, you don't care enough. Okay, you're not the person for me. Now, once they actually did talk, an episode and a half later,
right.
Then. Oh, was it the same episode?
It was the same one.
Yeah, because then the blow up happened.
Yeah.
So once they talked about the end of the episode, it was like things are clearer. And I think that that's an even greater issue. So basically what happened was, for any of you who didn't see it, I don't care.
You knew that was going to happen.
So as time went on, Zoey kept comparing their relationship to each other, and then she kept going off of the standards of her. My voice is like really raspy today. Kept going off of the standards of her friends. Like they took a picture and somebody made them examine. Like, you see, your legs are pointing away from each other. You obviously are not connected. And then they compared Zoey and Luca to Jazz and Doug, and it was just like.
Because they had the appearance of a great couple.
The whole time,
a goal.
Doug don't even be following the rules of the relationship. So.
Hashtag goals. That was the thing.
Hashtag boom.
Don't get caught up, people. Listen. Don't get caught up.
I think the greater issue for me came in at the end where they separated from each other and they started handling the situation via Snapchat. Like, I feel like maybe I should have got the card. Sometimes you shouldn't send emotions over a text message or a message because well then you should have got the card. The card is we were playing a game at a shindig.
Who's most likely to?
And the card said who's most likely to take an hour to interpret the text wrong or something like that. Whatever.
Oh, that is definitely not me because I would have called.
It's a joke. Anywho, so
you
right. I think that they did end up talking, and maybe you know what, it's just their way. I gotta learn how to be more patient.
I was
yes, you do.
It's their medium because
bravo. Hey, wait a minute. Pump your brakes.
I said I think that Snapchat was their thing. Because she said when he was in Paris, that's what they did all the time. That's how they communicate. That's their form
But
of
so do they have to have a long distance relationship in order to work?
No.
Like that's what I was just thinking.
That's why she went back to using Snapchat because when they had the conversation, and I think Aaron told her like y'all not clicking right now, but like y'all you need to give me some time.
And I appreciated him for that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think he'd give that unbiased at that point, but he got over it. Summertime, great girl, good job. Shout out to you, Aaron. But
Shout out to you, Trevor.
Trevor. Anyway, so when he had the conversation with her, she was like, you know what worked when we were working. And I appreciate her for going back to that because some people don't realize, like, things do change, but what was working normally will work because that person received it. And so when they started snapping each other and it was all cute and whatever, then that led to the actual conversation they needed to have. So I think that for some people, if social media doesn't work, don't try it because it's not for you. Like, learn what's for you. Like, I know I'm a person that likes to do communication face-to-face. Texting is not going to be good for me because I can just literally walk away from my phone and I don't care.
Because she'll be like,
I probably won't respond.
I need to call someone to find out if I'm about to be petty.
That is true. I do have petty police that help me check my messages because I know that I need that assistance. But
I'm going to say what I want to say.
Yeah, I'm going to say what I want to say, but there's a way that you can say it without having to.
I'm not checking it.
End up hurting people. And that's what I try to be more cognizant of. Like, how can I get my point across without doing extra damage?
Right.
So I think that knowing that Snapchat worked for them, that's why she did it. But for whatever your relationship is, you do what works for you.
But yeah, my whole point is that I feel like in today's time, we use social media or devices so much beforehand. And my thoughts are like, every time they get into something, is it going to be like a larger scale blow up? Because we see in the last episode where they ended up talking outside, but that really wasn't between the two of them.
Yeah, it was him helping her with the situation.
Right.
I got you. You're saying like whatever happens in their relationship, will it be handled that way? Right.
And like that's just my concern. Is this always the route that we have to take in order to get back to the same place? Because, I
don't think so. I think that this was a learning curve for them to realize this is a good way for us to communicate, but now is the opportunity to let you know that this is good, but we need another communication. So I think that it's good for you to go back to that solid place if you want to restore the relationship, if you want to grow the relationship, to be able to say, because sometimes what ends up happening is that if you try this new route too soon, you break down whatever you had built because you don't really know each other's, like, right in that aspect of them communicating the way that they were. I believe that they were able to communicate themselves and understand each other.
And the thing is, go ahead.
Whereas if they would have done it the way that she initially wanted to do it, nothing was being heard, nothing was being received from either way.
Because of her insecurities, like she just because she cared so much about the standards of other people, so she wasn't really communicating with him. And I don't think, because from what we saw, the first season ended with her making a decision, and he was the decision.
Yeah.
And so was it like, okay, we made this relationship, and he immediately went away for the summer,
right?
Because they didn't even have a chance to build their relationship on, you know, build their relationship without distance.
Yeah.
So it was more so like that was all they had. And so that's why I feel like that's what she's like. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
No. Okay, we can segue that into the whole rules conversation. So they had this very good episode, which I think is timely now with this generation. And I think everybody has it, but it's different. I think it gets more legs as you get older. But they were saying how in their friend group, they had a lot of rules. In their relationships, they had rules. Like when they got up in the morning, you had to text the group text, and people had to have their location on at all times so that you know where every one of your friends are.
I never had nothing like that. I don't want nobody to know where I'm at all the time.
I said, my sister said her and her
sometimes
friends do
I
it.
don't be where
I was going to say, I do
be.
know some people, I mean, even as grown-ups, we have rules. Of course, it may not be as...
She said, I'm trying to understand it right.
Yeah, no. It may not be as
I think it gets
intricate
more lax as you get older.
as you all are, but we definitely have rules, you
and
know.
I think it changes for, like, most of your friends are married. So your accountability is now with a different person. So whereas you may have, like, so on my birthday, I went out with some of my guy friends, and, you know, not that I was expecting anything to go wrong. I just called Trinice like, hey, I'm checking in, just like, you know, that I'm going out to get some drinks with my guy friends. So, you know, just so somebody knows where I am. But if I was, like, for you, you'd be like, oh, babe, I'm going out with my girls, whatever, because that's who you check in with at this point.
Right.
Your accountability, Lord, Jesus, your accountability is to a different person now. And not saying, you know, like, you're not accountable to, like, us and stuff like that, but
it's a different level.
Exactly. Like, the only time you probably would check in is, like, if we're watching The Boys or something and you like, oh yeah, well, we still out, or, you know, we just got to the table, but
honey, I'm staying out all night. Sight.
Girl, bro.
But also,
They got him. Let's party.
I mean, the rules too, they go both ways. Like, Candace just gave that great example. So she left me this voicemail, and I listened to it, and I was like, does she expect me to do this when I go out? Because I suck. I suck at it. Just everybody know they're gonna be bashing me about it. They do it all the time. I'm really bad at it. Like if somebody tells me to text when I get in, don't just assume I didn't get in, because I'm not gonna text you. And it's really not on purpose. Let me tell you what happens. What happens is I get in the house and I'm just so relieved to be home that I start handling everything. And by the time I get back to my phone, it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I cannot possibly text somebody now. And
Even though we said text us.
So if I left your house at 10:15 and I text you at 3 in the morning, you're going to be like, where have you been all this time?
I'm going to say,
what I usually do is
me.
say, if I get to my next destination, hey, I'm somewhere safe, if that's the case. But the main reason why I called you that night is because we went out earlier that day, you and I and Bray. And
okay. Yes.
You dropped me off at home. So let's say somebody was like, oh, Candace was doing something somewhere, and you like, well, that couldn't, like, and something bad happened. You'd be like, oh, well, that couldn't be my Candace because I dropped her off at home.
I was going to say, was this the same night that I called and you was like, well, I'm home, and I never got a response from you?
That was not that night.
See?
I feel like that was something else.
There it is. Y'all heard it? See? That's what they do to me all the time. I probably was right home. Probably. I'm not sure.
But you didn't even respond.
I just told you. I hope y'all listening. So y'all heard what I just said.
Nobody
anyway,
cares. The point is, if I asked you to, I don't care what time it is. At least I would be able to say.
Well, we already got group text, so I don't know.
I just don't do it for anybody. My mother.
But you did tell Miss Brenda that you were somewhere safe that one time.
I did because you sent it in a group text. And
right, but that's what I was about to say. We do have a group text.
So like,
so
she
that
literally
obviously is not a result for this issue.
When she asked me to text,
so it's just me that you just respect.
I literally said my mother. I literally said my mother.
People always want to internalize disrespect.
So Candace was like, I'll text in a group so that when I get home, it'll ding your phone so you can remember the text. And I was like, okay. So she did that. And so then when I got in, I was like, oh, let me say I'm in. That's exactly what happened.
So me texting you and actually saying,
you tell us before we leave.
Call me. Are you home? Where are you? Knock, knock. Who's there?
Like, I think that's what the problem is. You want to know who's there. She's home, but now you're asking too many questions.
You're in my business. Mind your business. Like, no. But no, I think they had a very good conversation about the rules, and Zoey brought up the fact that this generation is supposed to be so pro everything. Like, you could be this. You don't have to be defined by anything, but they have so many rules about it with no definition. I think that's where the confusion comes in, because it's like, I don't want you to think I'm controlling you, but I need to have your location on, and so you literally are giving two contradicting thoughts.
Now, this is the thing. Now, I don't really know how I feel about this, because on one hand, I feel like y'all like that's too much. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I just feel like it can be too much. But on the other hand, because
you don't know where I am at all times.
But on the other hand, because of society today, it would give me a little bit more security. You know what I'm saying? To know that, hey, it's a group of you that, like, if y'all was still in college, it's a group of you that have that type of contact where where that person is, I mean, even with my boys, I got safe words. Like, I feel like I need safe words with y'all, like, to let me know.
Don't give me
you know
one,
what I'm saying? Like,
I don't even have a life. God.
But I'm just saying, but I just feel like the world is just changed so much that even though a lot of people feel like this is my personal business, but I want to ensure your security. So,
but you can't.
I know I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying. But it would make me feel better to know. Okay, she's safe.
So this is my thing. Okay, so listen, wait. So if, let's say I was talking to Joe, y'all know Joe from TNSU. If I was talking to Joe and I text you and I'm like, hey, I'm tracking
at the bookstore.
At the bookstore. Then I text you every single detail about what's happening up to that point. That's not going to stress you out more. No.
I'm not saying text me every single detail. I'm just saying like if I text you and then I don't get a response back for like 4 or 5 hours.
Sorry,
it's possible.
I know, but or if I text you and I don't get any response, that is nerving to me, because it's like she couldn't even text back. So thumbs up. Okay.
It's not.
I don't know. This means 30 now.
For her, I just feel like you just shouldn't even feel that way anymore. When I don't get, it's not that it's good.
I was going to say, wait a minute. Wait. I feel like I should feel this way about her, being as though certain things have happened. So, I'm just saying. So even more.
Oh, wait, did you say you? Do you mean TNSU?
Yes. So I'm just
right
saying.
Down when people shade me.
I'm just saying, because of, unfortunately, the people that have been attracted to you, because I'm not going to speak that over you, that you attract these people.
Let's just stop and go forward. I'm done. I'm through.
That was me trying to slam on the brakes, but she just kept going.
I'm just, it's concerning. It's like, just let me know that you're okay, because people are crazy. And I just
at the end of the day, people still gonna be crazy though.
They are.
Trinice, I'm not giving you no pass. All I'm saying is
that's literally my thought process. But, all I'm saying.
But still,
you still have no reason why you can't text when you get home, or why you get somewhere that you feel safe.
Especially, this is my bottom line with you, and we can be over this. We can be over this. At the end of the day,
at the end of the day, y'all know it's serious. It's serious. At the end of the day,
when you know to do right, you change and you do right. If you know that this is something that's affecting me, and I've told you that this is affecting me, burp your words. And you know that this is affecting me, and you know that you can change
use your own words,
and you know that you can change it, then you should change it if you cared.
Oh, girl, you did say that.
I did.
About last year sometime, child.
So that's all I'm saying.
I was going to schedule a doctor's appointment, but that's not here nor there.
See how people always try to
deflect.
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
Deflect.
I'm saying
this show is not about doctors.
I have said that this is something I struggle with, and when Candace gave me something to help me, I used it. Is it gonna be natural to me? No. Am I trying? Yes.
What are we? 22 days in?
We already have
21.
21. We already have a group text, don't you? Still?
I know, but when we get home, it's not like, oh, do you do that? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know where my phone.
If she asks me. I don't do it every time.
I always tell her not to ask me. So we could just stop that right there. I'd say it. I'd be like, just don't ask me.
Because no. What I'm saying is, sometimes I do it if she asks me and she don't remember to text us. But if she texts us and I'm home, I'll be like, oh, I'm home, or I just pulled up outside, or something like that.
So should I just text you and say I'm home and I'm not home?
No,
I said you can say I'm somewhere safe.
Happens, yeah, you can say I'm somewhere safe.
Well, the thing about it is, me and my father had a conversation.
You said she be messing with some Joe niggas, so.
Me and my father had a conversation the other day because apparently somebody's friend was dealing with their daughter, somebody's close whatever, and he was like, so I was talking to the guy, and he was like, oh yeah, he said I would never want to be talking to one of my homeboys and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm dealing with this little wild girl, blah blah blah, and he's like, oh, what's her name? Trinice. And he like, it's not that many Trinices in the world, so I'm a little concerned, I'm very worried, and it's in his circle, and he was just like, because my name is not that common, you would know that it's me. So that's why I'm saying, like, it really don't matter whether I text you or not. If you hear my name, you know it's me.
That's false, and you should be slapped for saying something like that.
I'm just saying.
Not logical.
How many Trinices y'all know?
What is your thought process?
How many Trinices y'all know?
Guys, this is going somewhere
you know
else.
One?
Yes, I do know more than one.
You know more? Who else?
I do. It's none of your business.
Oh, now it's none of my business. Okay, anyway, back to the rules. I think that what the issue is that everybody has their set of rules and there's no explanation as to why. Now, in this situation, we clearly understand why she created this rule, so we're not going to get into that.
Oh, my God, you're being annoying. Put that phone down.
But,
I'm going to see how many Trinices I can find so I can say.
I said, how many do you know that live in Baltimore? Yeah.
But in the news, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And they're going to say my first and last name. And I know that. I work in the news.
Go ahead.
But yeah, with the situation that Zoey was saying, when I was in college, I had a group of
They'll
friends.
They'll actually probably say, Trinice, a.k.a. Nizzy Foster.
5'6".
Girl.
Did I say it in Baltimore?
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so when I was in school, I did have a group of friends, but we didn't talk like all the time. It was just like linking up, like, oh, you going to breakfast? Then we would text and be like, yeah, let's meet here, whatever. You going to lunch? We going to this party, whatever. Blah blah blah.
Just put it away.
That is her first name is Danielle.
Trinice,
Danielle Trinice.
You made it. That's her thing.
Danielle Trinice. Anyway, so I think that it's important to understand, like, if you have a rule, express why you do, because if people understand where it's coming from, they don't just see it as control. Like, text me when you get in safely is because I'm concerned that you won't get in safely, or if something happens, I want to be able to support you, as opposed to I need to know where you are at all times. Like, it's different ways that
yeah,
goes.
and I remember I didn't always have this rule. It graduated to this because you all got older, because my rule previously was if you're at my house
at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. If you're at my house at a certain
Who were
time,
we? 3-year-olds?
That's after Candace hit that deer. It's like,
first of all, that deer hit me, and that happened at this house.
I know. It was a
did not.
It did happen at this house.
We saw a deer at the other house. Nobody hit one. I'm sorry. No deer hit anybody's car.
Yeah. That deer did hit my car.
I clearly
nobody's car hit anybody's deer.
No, the deer didn't hit anyone's car at the old house. A deer hit someone's car at this house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fixing it right, and you trying to make me wrong.
Trying.
I know.
Okay, but go ahead.
And so I just feel like the whole thing with their whole blow up about that, because what happened was Jazz and Doug had rules about, he wanted to go to this party that's at his dorm. Mm-hmm. He wanted to go to this party, and basically she was like, they couldn't go to a party that had...
They couldn't go to co-ed parties without both of them being present.
And so Zoey goes to the party and sees that Doug is at the party without Jazz, and it's a co-ed party. And then she's sending this long text thread to the other two homegirls, which does not include Jazz or Skylar, because clearly Skylar is Jazz's sister, and she's going to tell her. And she's asking them, like, should I say something? Should I say something? And they was basically like, they basically both told her yes.
And that's what upset me.
And she was just like, oh, and then her phone died, so she couldn't say anything. And
so she broke one of the rules that her phone was supposed to stay charged.
That is true. Yeah, that was the rule too.
It died twice, actually.
It did,
and
that's how she got
Luca got on her.
I was going to say, I thought 3 times.
It did die 3 times when she passed out, right?
Yeah, so the second time was with Luca when she was supposed to call him back at the party, right? And then another time was when she was...
But I thought it was just dead the whole time at the party, though.
It died at the party.
Right.
That happened.
Oh, so it might be.
And then she went to his place and they talked about it, and then it happened again. So it was twice. Yeah. Sorry.
But what about when she was up in class?
That was the second time when she passed out.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, she had a panic attack.
Yes, panic attack.
In a boots, shorts combo.
And that's what she couldn't die in. And so the whole issue that Jazz had, which I understand, but I think she could have expressed it differently, or at least said, you know, have an issue, because basically Zoey thought the issue was that she was there and didn't tell her about Doug, which I'm sure was part of the issue. But the bigger issue Jazz said was, like, you spent 42 minutes talking about if you wanted to tell me about the situation or not, and never once said anything to me.
But this is my thing. There was clearly a hypocritical argument, because there were several things that were brought up in from group text that I want to say almost each of them, except for, I feel like Jazz and Sky come in a combo. So just like they're always included. Because like Trini said, they're not going to talk about each other, except for if they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like they said that Anna was a little punk, I think.
Yeah.
Or she was nosy or something. Or was it Nomi that was nosy? Which
it
makes sense.
Anna that's nosy, because even in when they sat down and had a genius conversation, Skylar was like, you know so much and give such good advice because you always in somebody's business because you're nosy.
And so they had a separate group text.
Yes, and that's what they
said. And I think every individual group had a separate group text to talk about the group text.
Exactly. So
that's
I
only
think
how it is now.
And I think that it was very hypocritical for her to take it so far and be so upset for so long when this is something that you all are doing. And at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, at all times on the day, you still was kissing Doug and okay with him, and he's the one that broke your rule.
That is true.
Zoey was trying to think of, should I make this a problem or not make this a problem, because he's not really doing anything.
Right.
And I think that's where her thought process came in. But I feel like if she was going to seek help from someone else, once the help told her to do it, she should have just did it.
Well, her phone also died.
Because she was texting them so much.
Because she kept
they
on,
said
like
pretty
they
much
gave it
off
to her
jump.
at the beginning.
Exactly. So
like she got an answer, but it was almost like she was conflicted with herself, because she was like, because I think at the end of the day, because we know that sometimes it can go all the way left. Like when you get in somebody's business, they may very well want the answer, but do they really? It was almost like that. Like, yeah, but does she really want to hear it coming from me? Because then my quote unquote goals, perfect relationship, is not that. So then you putting her on blast. So it's like a catch-22, because it's like, will this ruin my friendship? You know,
right, so
because like you say, because and technically it did.
Yeah, it did.
Either way, it kind of did, because like you said, she's still kissing him. And she's
not
pissed
talking
at pissed at her. So
that's why I say, either you're going to decide if I'm going to make this a big deal, or am I not going to make it a big deal, or am I going to listen to the help that I sought counsel from. So if you go into the help, now somebody else knows, because it could have been one thing where you could have just saw him, minded your business, left out, and act like you didn't never see him, or because now you're bringing other people into it. Everybody knows. Yeah. So now you have to say something, because everybody knows. So you should have just said something.
And I just feel like if she would have even said, hey, I see Doug, he's not doing anything, but I just want to tell you I see him.
Right.
Like, that's it. And of course, however she wanted to make that, she could have made it. But
and then Doug might have been beefing with her, because Jazz would have been like, yeah, because Zoey told me that she saw you, but Doug's not your friend, so it doesn't even matter.
It will make more sense, because you have less to lose with Doug than you do with your girl. Now, I do think that Jazz is handling this wrong, because I thought it was very mature of Zoey to text everybody and to basically say, I'm sorry, and I could have been a better friend, and I should have handled things
And
differently.
I didn't even think it was that serious.
I didn't think it was that serious either, but
for all of
for
them
her
to
feel,
cut her out.
yeah, and I think she was basically saying like, I understand that I violated these rules, and as much as it may not be serious to me, it's serious to you guys, and I want you to know I respect what you think is important. So when she did that, I was like, oh, okay, that's very mature of her. And then Jazz just left the group chat, and I was like,
because she's childish.
Yeah.
And then when she directly confronted her, because they had the next episode, they were talking about who's a genius, who's not a genius, and she realized that she was giving her some unnecessary shade. And she was like, can we take a sidebar? Again, I think it's mature. Because she could have just laid it all out in the open. And I think she learned that from the last time. If I got something to say to Jazz, let me say it to Jazz.
her.
And she took her aside and she was like, are we cool? Are we everything? And Jazz was like, oh, yeah, we Gucci. And then spit her gum in her drink, which is super disrespectful.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, I would have definitely banged on that face right there because I don't play about my
there.
drinks.
Decked her.
And
Decked her.
And
who is she?
I just feel like with that, at that moment, when you had a problem, you should have just said, I have a problem. I'm still upset. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. And, everybody, like we said, they have their rules for a reason. It's to help them with their insecurities or with their fears. And sometimes when you violate it, what you don't think is a big deal, but what the emotion that it brings out can become a big deal. It can be a trigger for them. So it could take them a while to get back to how they're normal, and you have to understand that. But at the same time, if this is something you care about, you need to express that. Like, Zoey, I understand. I know you apologize, but I'm still working through this.
Yeah.
Say that. Don't say we Gucci and then be treating her bad.
Right.
That's what I didn't like at all. Now, I do think that this whole episode, this is the next one with the genius thing. They were talking about geniuses, and apparently this mystery artist had to drop at midnight, and everybody was talking about who could it be and who's a genius musically. And I really think a lot of the geniuses came before our time.
Oh, definitely.
Musically, I believe. I do
definitely.
And I do think, because most of them set the bar for what we now use. Like everything is sampled now. Everything, a lot more. Not that things were not sampled then, but it was less. And I do think that it was disrespectful for Aaron to even say that Beyonce is not a genius. And Zoe did bring up a very good point about women not being given that title as easily as all of the men on the list. Now, we do not believe that Trevor Jackson doesn't believe Beyonce is a genius. Let's be clear about that. And I think it was cute how they had Jazz and Skylar say that Beyonce is a genius, and they gave him that,
that clap off.
Yes, that clap off, because, they signed her label, so duh, they would think that. But it just really spoke to, a lot came out about Zoe's insecurity in this episode, because sometimes we as people want validation from others when you really need to have it from yourself before you can get it from anybody else.
Exactly.
And she didn't realize that until it was like painfully in her face and she had to deal with it. So this whole thing with Jazz was part of
that validation.
Yeah, it was part of what led up to it. So like, she's worried about what you think about me. How can I fix this?
Because she's the people.
She is a people pleaser. Yeah.
And then she made a good point that she was so used to, being at home, and she said something about, her dad always used to put her in front of her brother. Like her brother might be talking to her dad or something, and her dad would be like, "Well, let me hear what Zoe has to say." Basically, paraphrasing.
Obviously, that's what he does. He did it with Diane.
Yeah, because he felt like she was the perfect child. Like, so when you grow up in that, and then the reality hits that when you go out of the house, that it's not just all about you anymore. And I think I had made the comment, see, this is exactly why you win and lose in our house. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you lose, you're a loser. Accept the loss.
I just had that conversation with the little one earlier in his room.
And you just have to accept it. And like, I think it was last week sometimes, my little one came home and he was like, "Mom, look, I got this certificate." And they gave him a certificate for being a good sport.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I was very
loser.
but I was very
He's
pleased.
the best loser.
Yeah, because and I said, "Well, how did you get
do
it?"
that at home.
But I know. And I said, "Well, how did you get it?" He said, "Because someone else did really well and they won the competition, but I was the only one that clapped."
Oh,
that is so.
And
they
said,
such a golden kid sometimes.
Yeah, and they said to me,
Sometimes.
"Oh, because you're the only one that clapped and you had good sportsmanship, let's create this certificate for you."
They should have just named it after him.
Yeah,
definitely. We should have a hallway. But I was very proud of him but I think that comes from the life lessons in home that's teaching you, like, you can't always win, buddy. Accept your loss. Be okay
it needs to be
with
a balance, though. And that's why I like that you said this is a win-lose house.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I was growing up, my mother was always telling me, you need to be better. And I'm like, and that's why
she might be African.
We was playing. I think she is. We was playing the game the other day. We was talking about the shindig, and it was like who's most likely to say they failed when they got a 98% on the test. I ended up getting that card, and
she accepted it very quickly.
I did
she knew.
because I do know, and like
it was almost like everyone turned.
Because my grandmother told me the story about how every week we had spelling tests, and I would get 100, 100, 100, and the one day I got a 90. She said I hid that test. Like, I got an F. And she said the teacher asked, because they make you sign them and send them back in. And the teacher asked, like, it's unusual that Trinice wouldn't bring her work back in. So, and she said when she asked me about it, I bust out crying and I told her that I failed. And she was like, this is still an A. And you crying for nothing. But because my mother literally told me, like, I come back like, oh, this is what I did. And she's like, okay, now do something better. And I'm like, people failed this exam. You know how many people failed this exam? But I think you have to learn that balance.
Yeah, I was going to say, but that was her, probably not her, but sometimes that's parents' way of pushing their child to exceed, in stuff that they do, everything that they do. And I think that's just, that can be a learned behavior, what I'm saying, of how to teach that. That's just their way of teaching. And not to say that one is better than the other, but,
Okay, so I thought that Zoe made a good point about. Sorry, guys, I was just patiently waiting.
I know, because you're working on patience.
So, I think she made a good point also about the career that she was choosing and to be in the fashion world. That is a very, judging place, and so I think that at the end we see her removing herself from that class because. You have to have, I feel like when you, number one, being in the fashion world, you can be behind the scenes, but if you're close up front and people are like, I don't want to use his name because he's trash, but Kanye, when he came out with that line of clothing and people were saying it was like the hobo line, if he wasn't, he probably beats himself up at home. But, in the forefront, he has a very strong I'm a god personality, and so we don't see that vulnerable side, but I think that that's the kind of thick skin that you have to have in the industry, no matter what industry it may be, like whether it's the music industry, whether it's Hollywood or the fashion industry. Those people, they have to truly have thick skin because you are in a very judgmental all this, like they literally have people called critics. That
we're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. We do it.
So I understand to a certain extent of, for her to feel
the pressure.
Feel the pressure, yes, but like for her to feel upset that she tries so hard, because we saw her rip up so many outfits. And I gotta be honest, that one that she put on display,
I didn't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
But not to critique you too much.
That's not my style. I didn't like it. It may have been great for
I didn't even see the whole thing. I just saw the back of it.
So
the yellow one? Oh. It came out like a big...
Oh.
Yeah.
But for her to put her all in... for her to put her... I think she dropped it because it just was becoming too overwhelming. And we look at other people and we judge where they come from with stuff like... First of all... And I'm not promoting, the use of, marijuana, but Luca gets high all the time. And they do say that you have, these aha light bulb moments when you're in that space. Like his process that he takes to do what he does, you just have to find your own lane and create your own process. And things will happen. Like she always, as far as her clothes, she always is killing it. Yeah, I feel like Luca is giving me hobo Kanye West most of the time. Exactly.
Right. But I mean, just because she could be fashionable and not want to be a designer. Exactly. Like she can appreciate what's there and make herself look away, but to create something out of nothing is difficult.
But so that's what I'm saying. It's different walks. That's what I'm saying. You have to find your lane. It's different walks that you get in. Like you could be a stylist versus someone who actually
they make a lot of money as well.
They make tons of money. Like they make money off of one person, and then sometimes they find a relationship. It happens. Then sometimes they get their teeth knocked out, but that's another story.
Oh my God. Oh God, please, let's not.
It happened. It's facts.
I know the story. I actually know this one.
The one thing I do want to say why it's important, like we're now sophomore year. Normally sophomore year you have to declare your major. So it's important that she had to really sit with herself and say, like, is this what I really want?
Right.
And when Jazz was wilding her out,
I was just going to say that
segue in that conversation, I didn't know how that got there. But I think like it definitely needed to happen.
And I was glad she was mature enough to say it to her, even despite, knowing that they're still good friends.
I mean,
even though
they're not good friends,
I'm not saying friends.
Still,
let's say that they're still friends.
Okay.
Where she didn't.
She was still concerned.
Yes, to say, hey,
I don't like this. I wish I want
like.
Because,
but she was saying that she runs. She was saying I run, but even though I lose, I still love it. Yeah. This is what I want to do. And I think that reality hit in Zoe's mind, like, do I still love
it?
But
Zoe brought it up to her, the fact that you have something that defines you
right away.
Because you win or you lose. Right, and that's it. Like, you don't have to be judged in that moment. Like, the facts are the facts.
Right. It's not the same with fashion.
And so I think that with her, she had to confront that for herself and, say, what, yeah, that is that, but I work hard for it still. And like you said, she said, I love it at the end of the day. So I just think that it was just a self-reflecting moment for both of them.
Yeah.
But for Zoe to explain that to her in a place where she can relate to it, like, what, I do understand it, but you have to stop letting people define you.
Right.
Because sometimes the people believing in you comes from your own confidence.
That is true. And the thing that I was saying about the way that Jazz is, and this is part of the reason that I do understand, because sometimes it can, when you see so much in a person and they're not being that, it can be annoying. Well, I know it's annoying to me. It's like, oh my God. Like,
so much potential wasted.
Yeah, like, my sister sings amazingly, very well. And so when it's something that she's like, oh, I can't, I'm like, you can do this. And it annoys me because I know what gifts you have. You know what gifts you have because we both see it when you do it. But I had to understand that what I see is just talent. She sees the flaws in it. So like when I think, oh, you did this song beautifully, she's like, well, I could have did this better, or this run wasn't where I wanted to be,
wrong.
And so what I have exceeding confidence in, she has doubt in. And when I understood that, it didn't annoy me as much. But Jazz isn't at that place yet where she can understand that, she's in an industry, everything that Candace just said, like she's in an industry where validation is what defines you. Like fashion is about popularity. It's about, who likes it most and, what they like about it. Whereas track is about about ability and what you taught yourself. Like it's more inward. And so when she started going off on her, at first I was like, Jazz need to chill. And then when it shifted to the conversation about her being upset because she wasn't seeing her worth and needing to be validated because somebody else said Luca was a genius, she's like, but do you think, like, what do you think about you? So that's when I felt like, oh, she's still her friend. She's still upset. But,
but she gonna tell her the truth.
I don't know if she's gonna be her friend, but I think that she's still, it's like when you care about somebody, it's like it can't, some things may happen to you, to bring your relationship down a level or two, but because at one point in time you genuinely cared about them, you'll allow them to get the knowledge that they need to have.
I don't think that this is going to define their relationship. I just think that a true friendship goes through bumps, and this will just help them to understand boundaries.
Yeah, and to create boundaries or understand each other better.
Yes,
I think. And sometimes it does take a run-in to build a better relationship.
Definitely.
Because then you learn more about a person, and I think Jazz will explain better, or Zoe will explain better why this affected me so much. And once you learn that stuff about a person, you can see them differently and respect them differently.
And honestly, 9 times out of 10 people, it really does come from a relationship. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you have an art with a friend, 9 times out of 10, it's usually because of a relationship that you have with the other sex.
Or
meaning,
with yourself.
With yourself, what you
like
mean?
A relationship, you like if you have insecurity within yourself, that affects any relationship you have. So like if Jazz's insecurity is really that I don't think that nobody has my back, then that's something that she has to deal with personally. So I think it can either be super personal or romantic, and that affects friendship.
I can see it.
Sometimes people just not good friends.
That too, but that's a personal issue. But I think this show is great. I think they're doing good things. I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes to see how the whole Jazz and Zoe thing goes. I didn't like the whole Skylar having undying loyalty to Jazz. I understand it because that's what we're taught, but I didn't like it, especially when she was like, I don't even know what y'all mad at each other for, but I gotta be on my sister's side. Whatever. Only because I have a sister. I have a couple sisters, actually, and I know, like, when they're wrong, I'm not going to just be out like, oh, they completely wrong, whatever, but I'll say to them, like, I think you tripping. I think you need to fix it.
I don't think we've seen any just personal... time between Jazz and Sky.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe we could see that, like, after this blow up has happened, maybe they could be on the next episode. And I mean, I know y'all already have everything written and we already waiting to see, but y'all might want to just go back and fix it and let this happen. But they could go home and talk about it, like Jazz telling her, like, girl, that Zoey was tripping. Did you really see her?
I'm almost sure that they probably will, because they want to dig into the relationship of why Jazz is so mad. You know what I'm saying? So I could clearly see that they would address it.
And then I just see Scott telling her, like, I mean, I think that actually you're tripping, right, and you did too much.
But I think the way that Scott said it to Zoey, like, you got the nerve to even talk to me when
because
you know, like, I'm like,
she
could have been like, you know what, I don't know what's happening with you and my sister, but y'all need to work that out. Right. It's a different approach, and that's what I'm saying. I just feel like that I didn't like that. You
know that Jazz and Scott are girls from the hood, and that
right. You don't break that code.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. But I'm just talking about even like with the aggressive attitude that they gave. Yeah. Like, I don't think they're as bad, but I think of ATL when I think of Jazz and Scott.
Okay.
So it's like, and Zoey knew what she was doing because she even said that she shouldn't have been even trying to talk to her. Like, and so it's like, girl, you knew good and well. And I think Scott even said, like, I don't even know what's going on, but you know that that's my sister and that's whose side I'm going to be on. Right. So.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the next couple episodes. I want to see how Zoey and Luca develop this whole Jazz situation, if that resolves. What happens with Jazz and Doug.
Because I want to actually see if old boy is really over.
Oh, Aaron?
Zoey. Mm-hmm.
I don't even care, honestly, because I wanted her to choose Luca, even though I think he's a weirdo. But I can tell that he genuinely cares about her. We've seen so many instances, even when they were just friends, of him talking to her about certain things.
So you kind of think that... I think that... Luke, what's the other boy?
Ponies. I mean, Red Tail.
Yes, Red Tail. That he's a better friend than he is. I was going to say co-laborer.
Oh my God, what?
Co-laborer, jeez.
Jesus.
But yes, then he is, you know, a soulmate or anything.
Whoa, soulmate. It's very far.
I do feel like Zoey and Luca could be. He's just there for her in ways that I feel like other people couldn't be, because of, even though his emotions seem kind of like, all right, what I think he saves his emotions for the right times, and the right reasons.
He sees the world.
It's just like,
a different way.
You're doing so much right now. Like, I don't think it's that serious. And while in that moment, at that time, Zoe's like, you know what? I'm tired of this nigga. And I want to say everything is not that serious. And that is often a problem, because I know we don't really talk about this show, but on Love and Hip Hop New York, when Sin and Joe sat down to talk.
Oh, honey. Go ahead.
Wasn't that crazy?
That was absolutely crazy. I would have straight just left him.
What happened was, see, you just gotta just pay attention. It was all over social media. That's the first time I saw it, which made me actually watch the episode, because they only showed a clip, and I was like, they be clipping stuff and it don't be real, but it was real. So what happened was, basically, Sin sat down to talk to Joe about, you know, just him working all the time, or always saying he's going to work, and then him working so much that when he's at home, he's just tired. They don't do anything, and she's really just seeking sex from him right now.
Right, but
not
she's
that's
depressed.
it. Yeah, and she said that she had postpartum, and that she's depressed, and she said that every time he sits down to talk to her, that he's just like, oh no. She said, every time I sit down to talk to you, you're not trying to hear. He said, because everything that you want to talk about is nonsense. Basically, that's what he said.
Right.
And you can't dismiss a woman in that way, because then that's when niggas say, we always be like, oh, I'm fine. And this is not what every guy does, because I do feel like, in relation to Zoey and Luca, while he, like I said, I feel like he saves his emotions for the right times, is because when Zoey is pumped up on the lack of validation that she gets from other people, he tells her to calm down. But when she's really in a hot moment, like when it came down to her having that panic attack, he was the one that was in that clinic with her, like finding out what's going on and, you know, talking her off of a ledge basically because she was finna die in a shorts boots combo. And then when she had that whole genius moment, he was able to sit down and talk to her then. Like, I feel like he is her in this school, he's her safe space. And I feel like that's just a really good, I feel like so many things, I'm tired of saying it. I've come to the understanding that it's really good to have, when you're in a relationship, it's really good to have a safe space, especially when you leave your safe space. So, while, you know, and that's crazy because, you know, they had that one episode about safe spaces. Yeah. And I just think it's beautiful in a relationship when somebody's just safe space.
When you know that at the end of the day, you have something to come to and feel woosah.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't wait till I feel the feeling. Okay, girls. So this is great. Watch the show. Let us know what you guys think. And we're looking forward to the next couple of episodes.
Yes, I am. I really am. Actually, I can't believe I really am. Like, at first I wasn't.
You didn't like the show. That's what you said. Point blank period. I remember.
I just thought it was
which is why we talked about it once. We didn't talk about it again.
I thought it was going to be foolish. But it's grownish. It's like...
This is what we have to deal with, guys.
But let us know, you guys, how you all feel about this episode and all the other episodes. Get caught up, number one. So go back and review. Did you hear that? Review. Review, you know, what we previously talked about and listen to this one. And let us know via email at blackgirlbroadcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on social media on Instagram at blackgirl.broadcast_BGB, on Twitter at BLKGRL Broadcast, and on Facebook by searching Black Girl Broadcast.
And you can search your favorite podcast site for us. We are on so many podcast sites, it's not even funny. Like, it's business. It's not funny. It's no jokes, no games. It's all business. We are out here for people to listen to. And as y'all should already know, especially if you're watching, we're on YouTube. So make sure y'all check out for us everywhere you can and just search for Black Girl Broadcast, BGB, subscribe and comment. People really actually like us.
Good.
So,
it's true.
Yes,
it's true.
It's, you know, we're humble in it, but
just
we
let
know
us
it.
know.
Thanks.
Let us know.
Right.
And until next time,
know your goals before you try to be a goal.
Oh, that was good. That was really good.
Thanks, I try.
Be real about how you feel.
Live your dreams. It's not as hard as it may seem. You gotta work to get the psych. No. Really though, live to your own standards. Not the standards of other people.
Yes, honey. Peace.